All right. So Ryan is caught up with a little something right now, so we're going to get him in soon. Let me know if you can hear me all right and if everything looks good. Um, and we're just going to get reoriented here a little bit. And I'll save all the fun stuff for him. So let's do some of the boring stuff. Let's go ahead and install XState. XState. We need to install it. So if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. We are working on an inspector for Mirage's website. And this is going to be included in the website. It's going to let people share examples and let us share examples, help people reproduce bug reports. That's kind of what we're working on. So we've been building this over the last few weeks. It's coming along. Awesome. And yeah, so right now, this is user editable, basically. And you can see, you can basically define some stuff right here. Let's go ahead and restart the server. We take the user input, what's up, Robin, and turn it into an iframe, run it against Mirage, and then use the response to communicate back to the parent. So last week what happened was we started getting into some tricky territory with our Boolean states here. And so we kind of had that nice little voice in the back of our head that said, you know, this might be a good time to bring in a state machine. And it really did feel like a perfect use case for it. So I haven't used this yet, but this was really a need that I felt for something to help us manage these different states. So I'm excited to explore this library a little bit and bring it into the inspector. So that's what we're going to be working on today. And again, like I said, Ryan's going to be joining us here too soon, but we'll go ahead and get started with that. So this started getting tricky with errors. So you can see right here, basically, we already have some states in this app. Every time the user edits this config, we go into loading state because the code needs to run this through Plunker, which runs it in an iframe here. It's actually a lot faster. We tried it. Yes, Robin, this is your project, right? This is a game changer. I just found out about this. I was working on a video for Egghead, and this Tailwind UI thing is a game changer. So nice work on that. Super awesome. So back to the inspector. It's a lot faster when you try it out when you're not streaming it and using all your system resources, right? So I was excited about that because we're just kind of building it pretty naively right now, and we want to make sure that it just kind of works correctly and then kind of speed it up later. But yeah, it seems like it's going to be just fine. So we're going to stick with the kind of architecture that we have so far. The errors here are, so the states that we have so far are loading state. So right there, every time we change the input, we go into a loading state. And then we find out if we've had a parse error. So right here, you can see this is not JavaScript. Like this is not JavaScript right here, right? So we're going to have a message that says we have a parsing error. So that's one state our app can be in. We also can put in valid JavaScript and then get a runtime error. Right here, cannot read project property DB of undefined, because the inspector is expecting you to basically export a new server, right? And so we have some runtime error possibilities as well. So those are kind of, right there is 4 states that our app can be in. It can be in kind of regular state where it's working. It can be in a loading state where it's processing input. It can be in a build time error state or a runtime error state. So that's why we were starting to think that XState might be a right move here. And so let's check out where some of this state lives right now. So this is our root inspector route. So this is from the Mirage.js website here, and we're working on a PR which adds this to/inspector. So that's what we're working on right now. This is a root component right here. And you can see this is kind of where our state management started to get a little crazy, right? So we've got sandboxes ready. We've got as a state. So why don't we start making a note of these up here. We've got, I mean, we have a lot of other state, obviously the server tab and everything in the response. But as far as like running the app, we have parse error. We're going to have like a runtime error. And then we're going to have loading. Sandbox is loading, right? Sandbox is loading. So just to start, I think that would be a good place to start. So let's check out this guide together. XState. Getting started. So you import machine, promise machine. We pass in some config. ID initial. Okay, so this is an example of a little state machine wrapped around a promise, and the states are pending, resolved, and rejected. So I guess we get to call this whatever we want. And we get to define the states. So I kind of want to just start with this. So this is going to be our machine. And we're going to have a initial state, which is kind of like our loading state. Actually, that can happen multiple times. So initially we will be loading, but let's make this a loading state. We'll make it, we'll add a ready state. We'll add a parse error state, I guess, and runtime error state. And we can always rename these once we have a little bit more clarity on what they should be called. But I think this is a kind of a good initial step. And initially, I think we're going to be in a loading state. Now, what's the ID here that we need to identify the machines of the space string for its child state node IDs? So let's just call this the inspector machine. I'm hoping, well, we have other state here. So we're already storing like this state in local state. I guess these aren't the same thing, right? So we're storing all of this code in React state, which we're still going to do. I guess the question is how the state machine will integrate with our change handlers and our button clicks and stuff like that. So I'm not 100% clear how, if you already have React state wired up, component state wired up, and you add XState, what's the best practice around those things? You know, we have status code down here, so we have a response. Is the end game here to move all of this into XState, or can we leave some of it in kind of local component state and then use XState to coordinate the more tricky parts? So that's something that's like an open question for me, and I guess we'll just see as we get there. So transitions here, on, resolve, and reject. So resolve, I think, is an event that we send to the machine, and it tells it that if the machine's in a pending state and it gets a resolve event or action event, then we're going to move the state machine to the resolved state. And if we get a reject event, then we're going to go to the rejected state. So to interpret the state, make it run, we need an interpreter. Interpret the machine on transition, boom, start the service, start, and then some machines. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So events are these things, right? So you can send an event to your machine. Now I wonder if anyone knows, and I'm going down the wrong path, and there's like a more blessed way to do XState with React. Let me know, but I'm just kind of dipping my toes in here and want to model some of the state transitions with XState and then see how we can actually integrate it with the React code. So we have events and then transitions. The state transition defines what the next state is given the current state and event. Okay, I think Ryan's just about ready. Oh, he has a. Oh, can y'all see this? Oh, this is funny. I wonder how I do not share this side of the screen. I'm sure there's a way. Let me. I'm gonna throw up a card real quick. I'm gonna be right back. How's it going?
Pretty good. Can you hear me?
Wait, now I can't hear you.
Might be me.
Let's see if we go to our normal thing here. Camera, Ryan. Select all cameras. How do I add a camera? Faces. Just getting this output device. Hello?
Hey.
Oh, there you are.
Nice.
I can hear you now.
Can you share your screen? Because that's the only way I can.
Ah.
And then can you bring up my? Well, I'll do the screen thing first.
There we go. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear and I can see. Cool. I always have to do this thing where it's like I float. Can you bring up the mic levels? Because my mic is always, I think it's usually higher.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. For some reason, my scene isn't letting me use Skype as audio. Zoom audio.
No, that's Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. So you want to do it in your software, not on the stream, because otherwise that's the thing that we got wrong the last few weeks. Like, no. I think that's what you don't want to do. I think you want to change it on like your computer. I'm not really I'm listening to the stream now, and it sounds pretty good for both of us. Nope, I think you just jacked my volume because I just got super loud. I can no longer hear you on the stream. I can hear me, but not you. Can you share your screen? Because I think we can figure this out in Ecamm. I can't. I can no longer hear you. I can see. Okay, I don't know if you did anything in audio in the last 30 seconds, but I sound good on the stream now. Yeah, I cannot hear you on the stream. I can only hear myself. I think if you share your screen and bring up eCam, we can find it. Yeah, yep. Yes. Very cool. Okay, so I think you want to change this Zoom audio device thing. Yep.
Okay, there's my ID4. So that was what was going on. I just want to figure out why you're so loud in my headphones.
So I think that you're hearing me through Skype. So I think you want to go into Skype and
somehow turn the volume down.
Mm-hmm.
If it's even possible.
Also, do you have like the DAW thing? Because are you sure I'm loud in your headphones, or is it the system audio is loud?
I mean, I'll just turn you down. That's fine. If we're coming out fine on YouTube, then I don't need to hear myself. That's okay. But I think the comments stopped coming through as well here. Oh no, there we go. I see Robin's comments. Okay. All right. I think we should be back to good here. So, whoops. Let me know if you guys can hear me, and if so, then I think we are good to go.
I can hear you on stream.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's just get back into it and pretend everything's good. And I don't know why the thing here is like so disproportionate, but that's okay. I'll just crank it over to input a little bit more. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
You got some coffee in you?
Yeah, I had one before my first meeting.
You had a day full of meetings?
Yeah, fun day.
Is that your favorite kind of day?
Favorite day. Oh my God.
Awesome. Cool. Now that my computer is at 98% of its resources being used, can you see the right screen now, Ryan? On Skype on your computer? Or do you want to switch Skype back to the other screen?
I see. Wow, I see something very weird. I see. Yeah, switch it back.
Let me switch it back to you. Share screen. LG Ultra.
Not sure what I was just looking at there.
Are you in the?
There we go.
Are you in the depths of Reddit or something, and you forgot what you had been in what was it, Museum of Reddit? We just became an MA stream here.
Yeah,
mentioning that. Well, you look good, man. You look healthy. Looks like the sun's shining on your face. It's actually a really nice day outside today in New York.
Yeah, I wouldn't know it.
You got to go out for a walk. Just mask up.
Yeah, I went out last night. It was super nice out, and there were a ton of people out because it rained all day.
Yeah.
So at like 8 o'clock at night, it was just packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. As long as you mask up, no one will give you a dirty eye, a dirty glance. So 6 feet. Okay, so let me catch you up, buddy. I have installed XState. That's about it. And I started reading the docs here. So I went to getting started. And I copied this. Machines need an ID. So I gave it an ID of inspector. This is an example. It's a promised machine. It's like an example of using a state machine for like the states of a promise.
Yep.
You have a smirk on your face, like
why are we making a state machine for a promise?
Good question. I do think it's going to be useful for our use case though. But yeah, I agree. Maybe this could be a better example. I guess it's you understand the domain of it, but if I had to do this every time I wrote a promise in code, it would be I'd be pretty sad. I'd be looking to become a goat farmer, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have ID, you have initial, and what's up, David? Thanks for joining us, man. We're excited as well. And then you have your state. So basically what I did here was scroll down to some of this crazy state that we already have here. I found set sandbox is ready. I found set parse error. And yeah, that's right now. We basically have kind of the initial state, which is like loading. We have kind of ready when it works. We have an error if the syntax is invalid. So if it's like literally not valid JavaScript, or we have a runtime error. So if you have like let x equals 1, it's valid JavaScript, but it's going to throw an error because the inspector is expecting a server to be exported, right?
Mm-hmm. Cool. So we're gonna get rid of all these booleans and get it into a nice little state machine.
Exactly. So
Very, very cool.
I basically started here, and let's actually make this correct. So the ID is inspector, and I just started with these 4 states: loading, ready, parse error, and runtime error.
Okay. Should the initial state be loading?
Yes.
And then I guess my next question is maybe we can like look at the docs. Parse error and runtime error are probably gonna, I would imagine, like share some state values. So can we do like substates? Can we have like an error?
Whoa. First of all,
Yeah, I'm going.
I'm
boom.
only drinking
I-
tea right now, not coffee. So you're going to have to just hold your horses, buddy.
Yeah. Also, too, I'm definitely gonna like just yell at all this crazy stuff because I've
Also-
done this in Rails before. So
Right, got you. Okay, well, you
Yeah,
just went
one
from 0
step-
to 100, man. You're saying we should
one
use a
step
state
at a
machine
time.
for a promise. Now you're saying we should use substates. So,
one step at a time. Okay, let's get our first transition working.
yeah, I
Our
think we
first
should.
thing, yeah.
I think we should basically try to get rid of the state booleans that we currently have and see
Yeah.
how to do this.
Yeah,
So
let's do like loading to ready.
Exactly. So one question I had was like, we'll just see as we go, kind of how this integrates with our existing component state that we're using, right? It's going to replace some of it, but we have a lot of component state in the app right now, right? There's like a message over here. There's like a lot of component state. So it'll be interesting to see if it can layer in nicely, you know? Okay, so we need to add transitions to the state nodes. Mark the state nodes as final nodes since the promise machine terminates. Okay, cool. So I think this is how you define transitions. Okay, so these are not events, these are transitions. So let's just do the first one. Let's make it super simple. Yeah?
Yep.
So it's going to start out loading and it's going to go to ready. So from the loading state, I see, and this is going to be like on success, something like that. It'll go to ready, something like this.
Okay, and is this the like syntax we should be using, like all caps? Name.
I think I actually saw that you can do anything here, but I think this is just, this is like
Yeah. This is what we should be doing.
Yeah, convention, exactly. Okay, look at that. It's our first machine.
Nice. So let's how do we get it to transition? Send.
So it says to interpret the machine and make it run, we need an interpreter. So let's check this out. We import interpret, we pass it our machine, and now we have an on transition. And then we start the service, and then we send it events. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's just follow the quick start before we start to fully understand all this.
Agreed. Inspector service. Use machine does. That was my question. Use machine does the interpret stuff for you. So earlier I asked if there was like a better way to do this with React, and here we go. So I think this is what we want to do. I have the chat up. I don't know if you can see it, Ryan, but David is actually here, and he was explaining that these are event types. So success is an event type. Why is it uppercase? Because Redux likes to yell. So it's partly a borrowed convention from Redux, and And then he also mentioned use machine. So let's check out use machine here. Looks like this is, I can't tell if this is the internet or my computer. Most straightforward way of using XState with React is through local component state. Wonderful. Machine should be decoupled, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we have the machine. So this is going to look just the same. I like that. Hooks makes it easier to use state machines within function components. All right, let's get.
Oh, this is great. So we get a send function back instead of having, you know, some service that we invoke send on.
Got you. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm feeling good about this. How are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling great.
Awesome. When you get a great from Ryan, you know it means good news. Okay, so we don't need any of this stuff, basically.
Yeah.
You know, I love me getting rid of some imports. Okay. Use machine.
What a great hook name.
Mm-hmm. I know the whole vernacular and branding of XState is pretty awesome. It's kind of like, I'm kind of jealous of it. It's like feels like you're programming in the future in Terminator or something, you know?
Yeah.
Use Terminator. Send him an action. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and throw one of these guys right here. So this is the inspector route. The inspector route is mounted once you visit /inspector, and it's mounted the whole time. So that's just going to be, that's going to work for us for right now anyways.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to know whether this thing is just tied to this component, and that's perfect. And awesome. So it gives us the current state, so we can basically start rendering from this instead of rendering from, you know, other stuff.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. So I'm guessing when we start it out, it's going to start according to the initial state. So we can actually log out the current state here, and it should be loading.
Cool. And then I guess like his first real world thing is we can replace an is loading with
current dot.
Current.
Dude, Gatsby takes so long to. Oh.
Are you doing the cache clear stuff? Let's make sure that that's not.
I don't think so. It's also, I can tell my computer is struggling right now. But yeah, I don't think we are anymore.
Okay. Clean is what it's called. Cool. Yep, looks good. I think I have you check this every week, so next week we'll check again.
So loading. What should we call this guy? Current. Let's just say like inspector state or something like that, just for like be super verbose to start out.
Yeah. Yep. Or like inspector current, because we'll probably see the word current in the docs, and it's nice to.
Current inspector state.
Sure.
Let's do.
Let's just prefix everything with inspector. Inspector current.
Okay.
It's about learning, not about doing it right.
So on click send toggle current dot matches. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at this. The API for current. Toggle component usage. Where's like the API for the state arguments return state current state machine as an XState state object. So API state. So index properties actions activities. Okay, we'll just be able to look at all this stuff, I'm sure.
Awesome.
Pretty cool. A lot of stuff going on.
Let's look at the methods, because matches sounds like that's what we're supposed to use.
Yep. Matches whether the current state value is a subset of the given parent state value. Okay,
cool.
I'm getting a little scared. Let's just stick to the guides here. Guides. Getting started. Okay, is this Gatsby app finally going? Jeez. Thought static sites were supposed to be fast. Sweet. I'm gonna. open up inspector JS, routes, route inspector JS. Oh boy, source maps might be too much for my machine to handle right now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Disaster. Okay, here we go. Current inspector state. Values loading. So value is going to be a string representation. State value.
Now, should we use value or should we use matches?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like if we get like, I don't know, if we introduce like substates, it sounds like matches will still match that loading state. Like if we have like, I don't know, just bear with me, like loading JavaScript, loading the iframe, loading all this whatever, bullshit we're going to do.
Right. Okay, so these are actions over here. I see alert green. So these are events. These are actions. Are actions and transitions. I'm getting confused between events, transitions, and actions. I guess we'll get there. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's like, yeah.
Well, I was trying to read like the intro and it got into that stuff. So I'm trying to find the first time we introduced the state bucket to see what you're saying, which is, should we use matches, right? What's the idiomatic way to use initial state? Use the state machine here. Value, current state value. Okay, seems fine.
Cool.
Context, event, actions, activities.
Yep.
Okay, let's just start with
Let's start with value. We've got one
let's
thing.
start with value. And okay, cool. So loading. If sandbox is ready. Okay, so basically, now we get to make this say inspector. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Current inspector state dot value is loading, right?
Yeah. We should just while this all rebuilds and compiles, we should like continue to like change one thing every week to see if we can get your computer faster. Like instead of like recording to, I don't know, like are you recording to like a Dropbox folder or?
Oh, Dropbox. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So we should, yeah.
Maybe that'll help.
Also, it'd be great if we like, I know you like recording it, but if we could just like get the assets from YouTube post.
Oh yeah. If that would help. Yep. That would be great. Okay. Something's happened. Localhost 8000.
When I this is just like tinfoil hat, but when I have a debugger in Gatsby with DevTools open and like the hot module reload will just sometimes nuke me.
Yeah. I wonder what's going on right now because everything's gotten very slow. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we are in loading right here. Yeah, getting rid of hot module reloading might honestly be like another thing we could do to potentially speed it up.
I know, especially since we're introducing so much state and hooks that we really don't benefit from that today.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we're in the loading state. Cool.
Awesome.
And so
cool. So
let's find out where we set the sandboxes ready to true, which is right here. So right here we want to send
success.
A success.
Is that what we called it?
Event. Events cause transitions. So let's come and look at this thing. Send. Yeah.
Do we want to call it like success? Do we want to call it
Did
ready. Maybe we should just call it.
loaded or something. Pending, resolved, rejected. So yeah, sends events to the running service. Let's see. So well, it is ready.
Yeah.
It's the iframe saying it loaded, or it's
I think you want
Plunker
to
saying we ran the program. So Plunker is reporting back that it did run it. So on success. Whoops. So maybe ready is better actually.
Yeah, I'm saying I like the word ready. It describes what's happening. And then this is not really a ready state. It's more of a
it's like a
maybe it is right.
valid state or something like that.
Exactly. It's like loaded. It's like ready to accept user input, I guess. I mean,
it's running.
Maybe
it's running.
Running.
The app is running. The sandbox is running.
Okay.
Sandbox
now,
running.
Okay.
Let's just start with running.
Yep.
Idle.
Running.
Okay. Okay, so now we should see the loading message go away. All right, it still has something in here that I need to get rid of. Let me see if I have any more breakpoints. That was a mistake. Breakpoints. Remove all breakpoints. Dude, so you started playing Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, it is. By the way, I feel like I'm in middle school because I don't go outside and I stay up all night playing video games.
Same. I have like 30 hours into Witcher 3, and I think I played like 30 hours of video games last year. Like, I do not play.
Yeah.
I love video games. I play like 1 or 2 a year, and like I'm already up to 30 hours in Witcher, and that's a lot for me.
I know. Yeah, same.
Cool. So, all right, the loading state here shows, and then it goes away. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, and then I think like check out the send button over on the right. Don't we like disable that? Maybe not.
Maybe we didn't get around to that.
Okay, let's see where we use that is ready Boolean from last week, and let's see if we can refactor that to use our state machine.
Yeah.
Right. So we're setting like sandbox is ready true. So
yeah, exactly. So
I guess we're not. It's yellow underlined. So I guess we're not. I guess we were only using it in that one place.
Yeah, we're only using that one in one place, but we're still calling set, so we can get rid of this one. And then right here, false is the input change. So okay, so we still have, as soon as we change this, we need to go back to loading. So as soon as we change the input config, we need to go back to loading. So that means we need a new event that takes us from the running state to the loading state. So what's the event? It's like config did change, or I
mean, if we're sending it like
sorry, I'm getting confused again. What is this, an event or a transition?
Let's check the docs, because my guess is transitions are going to be like functions that can do multiple things, and these are events. But let's double check.
We need to add transitions to the state nodes and mark the resolved rejected state nodes. Transitions to the state nodes.
Cool. So exactly the opposite of what I said.
I just want to see an example.
Under guides, yeah, bring up transitions.
State. These are states, and then these are
Yeah.
Event. This is an event. David said. Right here. Sorry, right here.
Okay. Okay. So let's just make something up and see if we can go back to our original state. So like, what would the event be? Like, change would be the event. Config change would be the event.
Sorry, I just want to read a little bit here. A state transition defines what the next state is given the current state and event. State transitions are defined on state nodes in the on property. Okay, so the whole thing is referred to as a transition, but transitions aren't like entities. They don't have like specific. You can't point to a thing and say like that's a transition. You can't name it in the same way that you can like resolve is an event. Pending is a state. What's the transition? The transition is like this whole thing. It's like this whole like concept, because a transition defines what the next state is given the current state and event. So it's not like a function. It's just like a higher level concept. Whereas an event is like a named thing and a state is a named thing. So that's where I was getting confused.
Gotcha.
Okay. So right. So what is the event that we want to call it when you change this thing that would transition the machine from running back to loading?
So I think from our point of view, the event is like config changed.
Right. That's like
where we don't really
right. That's like the input change or something like that. Something simple like that to start, right?
Right. We don't actually care that this is going to cause the thing to go back to running, or we don't care. We don't care that it's going to cause the machine to go back to loading. That's something the machine is going to take care of for us.
Right. We just want to send it an event that said the config did change.
Yep.
Cool. Let's just keep it like that. Maybe it'll become a little bit more generic as we go, right? Like it'll become like user user did input or something like that. Okay, so send ready, and right here we need to send
config change.
Yep. And this is really going to be the benefit for us, because you can see we were calling sandboxes ready in multiple places. And I think in theory, this state machine should eliminate that.
Yeah. Also too, that you could imagine a future where you change a config and the sandbox is instantly ready, and we don't have to
update the UI code.
Yeah, exactly. Where like there's like all these implementation details about how the what it means when the config changes.
Right.
Sprinkled all over this code.
Right. I'm super excited about that stuff because I've been there before. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Rafno. That's I wonder where that name is from. Okay, so let's try this. We refresh. We should see loading the initial state. There it is. Everything works. Now we're off of it. And now if we were to change this, we go back to loading. Yep. And the event comes back. Cool. All right, that's working. Let's keep going. So we have one more case where we're saying set sandbox is ready. So this is if we have a parse error. Okay, so let's define a new state. So let's just do it naively to start, yeah? Like parse error.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting that before we were setting sandboxes ready when we were in an error state. So it does make me want to think that like an error is a substate of being ready. But right, that's what we probably weren't able to express it at the time. We were just saying, okay, yeah, the sandbox is ready. But this part does make me want to explore substates, but also like we're writing our third state, so let's just make a brand new state.
I see what you're saying, because
once we get that working,
they're related to each other. You can never be outside of. You can never be. I think let's make it like this, and then we'll see. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So parse error. So if we got a ready event, we're going to transition to running. If we got a parse, I don't know, a parse error state, we're going to go to the parse. This feels a little weird. Maybe we'll have like a more generic error, an error state, but let's just do this for now. I feel like this is probably not the right idea.
Yeah, there might be a way we can have a function here. We can send an event, but let's.
I'm talking about the naming right now. I'm saying the fact that our event matches our state name feels like we're probably. There was an error. We're in the error state. I guess that makes sense, right? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I think I want to write it out and see how it looks before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to need to update our UI code because the loading message is going to still... Oh, no, it won't actually. Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay, so reload. Oh, so slow. Loading. Change this. Loading. Goes away. Parse error. Okay, cool. Yeah, because loading only needs to be there when a thing is loading. So that makes sense, actually. And there's the error message. Cool. All right. So now we should be able to get rid of sandboxes ready. Boom. We just eliminated a state Boolean. We should get like something should happen every time we do that.
Get like some coins.
Yeah. Okay, so parse error. So let's put the parse error message. Okay, so this is interesting. So I'm guessing like you can send. We could probably pass this into send and store it on the machine. And the question is like, is that what you want to do?
Yeah, let's take a look at the docs.
Sending event. It's an object with a type property. As a shorthand, if they only have a type, they can be their string. Okay, cool. They can also have other properties which represent data associated with the event. Okay, so you can say, let's send a type of error event, and then we can give it like a message. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
I think this is what we want.
Why don't we try that?
Yeah. Null events. Cool. So we'll just
type parse error.
Exactly. And then message.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing we'll be able to parse error. So this is going to be if we have an error. So this guy can be replaced with
I think it was like machine
current
dot
inspector
value
state dot value is equal to parse error, right? Something like that.
Yeah, was it all caps? What was the?
Yeah, I think so. Parse error.
No.
The state is like this. This is
okay. Cool. Great. Yep. Looks good.
And so if we're in the parse error state, then I'm guessing we'll be able to read this from the state of the machine. So we need to like log this out, right?
Yeah. Let's we can yeah.
Oh, but we need to.
We should also
we
look
actually
at
need to do something with the message that we sent.
Yeah. So let's look at. I think we should look at the docs and see that API doc page where you found dot value. Let's see what there might be like some API for getting the data we pass in.
I'd like to see the guide on it. I saw it in the in that video that I watched quickly. I think it might be transitions. What the next state is. Yeah. So the question is like, where do we put the actual state, like the message, or like a complex object?
Well, go to the states doc. I mean, that's
The
really
API
what it
doc or the
is.
states? Okay, states.
Either or. I mean, I would go to the API doc here, but yeah, so let's look at this.
Oh, I forgot to have my little light on. Boop. Yep. So history, value, events, tree.
State methods and properties. Let's look at these guys.
Whether the current state value is a subset of the given parent state value. Okay, that's what you were saying. So if you had substates, that makes sense. You would use matches. I don't think that's what we want. I don't think this is what we want. We're basically looking for like how persisting state metadata. Metadata, which is static data, describes relevant properties of any state node, can be specified in the meta property of the state node.
I don't think it's metadata.
Meta message
It's
loading.
But it's
failure.
it's
The request failed.
but this feels like static data.
But
This
let's see if there's an example of updating the metadata. Okay, you might be right.
dude persisting state. See what was under that.
Where'd you see that?
Go back. This is like how you can materialize and serialize, deserialize.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if the React guide has anything. Send.
Interesting. There's a service object. I wonder if
Assign data. Context data.
oh, cool. Okay, there was a thing in using you know how you're using state dot value? There is a state dot context. So
Looks
I
like
wonder
you
if
can-
this
looks
is
like you can pass it in, and it's basically
Okay.
It's like the state associated with your machine.
Let's go to the guides and see if we can find a section on context.
Well, finite states are well-defined. State that represents quantitative data, arbitrary strings that can be potentially infinite, is represented as extended state instead. This makes state charts much more useful for real-life applications. XState, extended state, is known as context. Below is an example of how context is used to simulate filling a glass of water. An action to increment the context amount. So this is like a reducer.
Mm-hmm.
Guard to check if the glass is full. Okay, so we have a glass machine. We start out the initial context, so it's like initial state, extended state of the state chart. And we have an empty state. We have a fill event, which transitions us to the filling state, and also what invokes this action.
Yeah. Let's find the action in this file.
It's an action right here, and it's the reducer right here. And so an action gets the context and the event, and then returns the new context. Okay, so
the only thing I'm thinking about this is context seems like it's a global across the entire machine, which we want something for a state, right? So like
I don't know. Last error is actually, if you imagine a state machine for this entire thing.
I see. So you're saying we'd have like a POJO, and it would be like error, last error type thing.
Exactly. My question is like, do you clean it up? Because one of the things that I thought was beneficial about this is like, if all of a sudden we're writing actions that are clearing out the last error from our context, that feels like we're losing some of the benefits, because the benefits are like, we get to
because the error is specifically tied to the state that you're in.
Exactly. Exactly. So you kind of want something that is just tied to the state. So I wonder, but it does seem like this is what this is made for. Also, like, it's just kind of interesting, right? So none of these are going to cause our component to re-render, or does send cause? No, it probably does because it probably uses state under the hood, the use machine hook.
Yeah, it's got to be because we're using those as if statements in our JSX.
Right. Right. Okay. Look, count 0, message currently empty. Let's look at this. So, okay, transient transition. It's interesting. Guards. Okay. I think context is probably what we want, isn't it?
Yeah, and why don't we start there
Okay.
and see if we discover anything?
Cool.
Also, you made the comment about cleaning up and how you didn't, you know, we would look at that as a red flag, but maybe it's not that bad. Maybe if we can have a thing that when you leave the parse error state,
Yes.
we delete context.error. That's pretty. I think that's important. Like that's would be an
way
important thing
better
to define.
than, yes, and I think you can do that actually because I remember hearing something about that in the video.
Yeah, they must. Yeah. Like a leave event or something.
Exactly. So on parse error. So now instead we can do type. So
let's copy and paste. Yeah. What was it in the example?
I think there's a way to do an action right here in line, which I would like to do that first. I feel like that's a little simpler.
Oh. I think target was the key, but yeah, I know. There you go, right there.
But that's like a global actions hash. Here we go. This can be like a single value, I'm pretty sure. Action order. Custom actions are always executed regardless of the next state in the transition. When a first transition has assigned actions, those actions are always batched. For example, in this counter machine, the custom actions will not work as expected. Let's read this, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
The assign action is used to update the machine's context, taking the context assigner, which represents how values in the current context should be assigned. It can be an object, recommended, assign, object, increment the count, current count, assign static value. So this is like saving you from having to do like splatting and stuff like that to copy the existing state. This is like updating pieces of the context.
Mm-hmm.
Or it can be a function. Both that are given 3 arguments: meta, action order. I'm a little confused why actions is plural when it is nested under a single event. Increment twice. Before, assign.
Yeah, I think you can. I think this is an example of like multiple actions. So if you had like 4 functions.
Okay, I think.
So if we can make actions a single function, right, instead of like an array with one function in it.
I think it can be. But my question is, where does this telling it to transition to the next state?
Maybe there is no next state. The initial state is active. The counter is always active. And you're telling it to increment the counter.
Gotcha.
Right. So you can imagine a state that just like, it's like a loop. It goes.
I would love to see named function.
Ah, there we go. This was a nice example. Actions, increment, decrement.
I want to see an example. Here, let's go. Set initial context. Yep. Set initial dynamic context provided from arguments. Yep. Set custom initial context. Assign to context. Okay, let's just do. We can do a global actions hash.
Yeah. I again, we're not. Dude, this is the first time we're writing this. We're not gonna nail this.
Yeah, I just wanted to see a nice copy paste example. Maybe this is a better thing to look at.
That was a pretty nice example, except
I know, but there's
instead of
only
having
one state. There's literally only,
Okay.
there's only one state.
Okay, but that's fine because this right here, see how it says capital INC,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's an object with actions.
Mm-hmm.
We can also add a key here called target
Oh, we can?
to describe.
That's what I was looking for.
It was in
I just wanted to see that. That's all I wanted
it's
to see.
in it's in one of the examples.
I believe you. Honestly, the egghead course was so good. It might even be worth pulling that one up. Okay, my computer can't do this right now.
Yeah, again, I think it's worth just moving this thing forward, and then once we start to
I just didn't see
understand.
target. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Parse error. On parse error. So you're saying we can basically do a thing right here.
Yes. And this would probably be, I probably saw it in the transition guide, right? Like, I think it was target.
Why do I feel like that's the wrong import? It'd be good to go through and read the docs after having played with this because now we have a lot more context, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, learning, not getting right.
Right.
Yeah, where do you import?
It's right here, man. We just missed it right at the beginning. On trigger,
Hey,
target active, actions. Boom. It's right here. It's literally the first thing under actions. I don't think we were on actions. I think we were on transitions.
I have a question here. Actions, scroll up to the very beginning. Actions are fire and forget side effects. That's not really what we're doing here. So,
do not send any events back to the state chart. The question is mutating the context considered a side effect or not?
That's a good question. Let's pull up context and just read the first paragraph.
While finite states, extended state is known as context. This is where we were. Actions add water. All right, it is. So
okay.
It is. Yep. It's a side effect in the sense that it doesn't. Okay, I think I understand what he means by this. Their fire and forget side effects for a machine to be useful in real world. Side effects need to occur to make things happen. Actions are not immediately triggered. Instead, okay, then side effects. In state chart, side effects can be grouped into two categories: fire and forget, which executes do not send any events back to the state chart. So I think the idea is like the reason it's a side effect is it's not going to like put things in another state. It's not going to. You can't. Why? What makes this a side effect? You wouldn't say on parse error, do this, then run this function that then puts us into loading state. Like, it's a side effect because it's not concerned with the state transition. It's like it's outside of the state transition part of things.
Okay, I get that. Why? It's very easy to explain like the terms of like I need to send an event to Google Analytics. Like I just need to have events of how my app is functioning and wiring it inside of the state transitions is an awesome place to do it. Like that makes a ton of sense. But here we're not talking about like an external side effect, a fire and forget thing. Like this is actually like we do need context to update here.
Yeah, I think it is a side effect from the perspective of the fact that you're doing basically you're not sending like an event to the machine. Like
Okay, let's. I mean, we've been searching for a while, so let's just see what this looks like. I mean, based off some of these examples, it sounds like this is what we want. So.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, actions get context. So okay, action implementations can be quickly prototyped by specifying the action function directly in the machine config. Cool. So the only thing that kind of confused us when we were going through this is that we reached for context before hitting the actions guide because we wanted some extra state associated with our machine. So we went straight for context. But this is really the nice intro right here because this would have answered more of our questions when we were trying to find some examples here.
And there's your inline function.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Cool. Perfect. Okay. So always prefer refactoring inline action implementations in the actions property. All right. We'll see about that.
Don't tell me what to do.
Has an actions property. So the state instance returns from the transition has an actions property, which is an array of action objects for the interpreter to execute. Each action has two properties. The exec function takes 3 arguments. The action. Okay, so you can also like invoke actions. Interesting. Okay. Let's not worry about that yet. Action.
Yeah.
Order, send action, raise action. So we're not doing any of this stuff. Okay.
There might be like some nice like ordering stuff we can do in the future, but let's
and so
let's debugger and see what the event is.
I think we actually want a sign. I think a sign returns a function. So I think it's going to actually end up looking like, let's do it like this first. That's fine. But I don't know if by itself, like, is this going to be like a reducer where we...
You're saying like a sign is going to be a shortcut that lets us not have to worry about all that fun reducer code where you filter things out and glue them back together.
Exactly. Right here. Action to increment the context map. Yeah. Yes.
Very nice. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, let's just get this then, yeah?
Yeah.
So the parse
And then can you assign a
error?
Cool. Okay, I see.
This is like the key of our context that we want to change. And we get the event. And now we can just return
context.parse error equals
event dot whatever we sent along with the event, which was what? Message.
Whoa, are you sure about that? I think you still have to modify context.
I think it's just giving it to you, but you just return the new. Oh.
Yeah, because it has to know. You can think of this as like the shortcut for doing all that. It's like merging 2 objects, and you're just giving it. Your thing is modifying the thing that you want to merge into the root context. Okay, that was an awful explanation.
I don't think you mutate context. I think you just return the new value for the key that you are changing.
Okay.
It's just a shortcut way to say like splat ... context and then this object, which is like like this object. It's basically merging this object in with context.
Okay, so your key names are the things that link this.
It's probably literally merging context with this object that's returned by this thing. So I think this is right. Because we don't even actually care about context, but we could in some situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that lets us get like the previous value or something.
Exactly. So objects are not valid as React children.
Oh, I think somewhere we're rendering search for like current in the JSX, search for current inspector state. I think we're just rendering that somewhere. Yeah.
I want to log this. Can I console.log?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. React, man. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
So I wonder if like the state object has a context, or if you get the context from the hook. I wonder how that works.
I think it has a context on it. I think I remember seeing that. Oh, we only show this if we have a parse error. So if I do X, we should go into the parse error state. If my computer is alive. Let's go ahead and close that guy. Give her the old close. I wonder if like incognito would be better.
Probably the.
I think we're actually have a problem with our code. You know what I mean? I think there's something wrong. Let's try not doing this. And just doing this up here. I need to get a Mac Pro so I can build websites. All right, here's context right here. Boom.
Cool.
There, A is not defined. It's right there. It's right there.
Nice.
Dude, what's wrong? Why don't you show it to me? Why don't you want to give it to me, man? Just give it to me. Oh, wait.
Wait.
I have a feeling I know why. Why wasn't it wasn't logging it before, right here? Maybe because this is wrong. Dot value is loading. Ah. We have a bug. We have a bug. Our inspector is not in. Look, it has a parse error, but it's not in the error state. So we did something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Send. Type. No, that's right. Scroll up to the state machine. Type. This needs to be target. Line 18.
Oh, son. Cool. What's up, Beth? How you doing? Current inspector state.
I wonder, is there like I think one of the awesome things about state machines is they're like visual in a sense. That's like doesn't make sense. They're the way you
Profound
think about
thoughts
them.
with Ryan Toronto.
Yeah. I would like to see some sort of inspector where we can render the state machine instead of doing like console logs.
Yeah, they do have that on the website. We can pull it up.
That might be helpful for our exploring.
Okay, cool. Parse error. Okay, now it's working. So,
cool. Let's get the error rendering.
So it should just be this.context.parse error.
Yep.
Oh, we're so close to getting rid of another state boolean. Can you feel it? Can you feel it, everybody? Can you feel it? Oh, David said it's coming very soon. I saw Kyle use it in his course, so I figured it was on there. But he just basically pasted it. Okay. Maybe you check that out, Ryan, because my computer is struggling over here. I've never used the Redux Dev Tools before. But I was talking about there's a cool visualizer where you basically, you could literally just copy and paste this guy, our machine right here, and put it in there, and it just draws all the things, and you can just click on different things to send it events, and you can even add like data with an event.
Oh, cool.
So I think that would be pretty neat. But this seems to be working, man. Check it out.
It's not defined.
Import server from Mirage J. Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead and close that bad boy. Export new server. Oh, we're not recovering from our error yet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. We're getting closer. So we're not using parse error anymore.
Where are we using set parse error?
Exactly.
What's
In Vim, I just learned that Shift star goes to the next thing, and I need to figure out how to go to the previous one because it's so incredibly useful. And I didn't know about it. So set parse error right here. We're doing it. Handle config input change. So I see. So this is one of our questions, right? Here we were clearing out the parse error on our context.
Yep.
Because it's no longer valid once we have this config change event, because it's not relevant anymore. So maybe we can say something based on our parse error state that when we leave it, then we go ahead and null this out just to replicate the behavior, right? And I think that is possible. So
we could
actions. We could also
we could we could do it exactly how we just got it in there, like use an action that sets a thing to null. But I'd be interested in if there's like some higher level API here.
You're saying within the config change event, go ahead and just clear this guy out.
Yeah,
right.
Add a new action.
Right.
But I'm also
actions.
interested to see. Yeah, boom.
Sweet. Okay, so this needs to be like a globally defined in our actions thing.
Is it one of those things? Is it one of those things that's like might be a string, might be a function?
Where's exit counting defined? Maybe it's not shown right here. But this looks like the whole thing, right? Exit counting.
They are defined in an actions hash. I have the guides up for the XState actions because there's a nice exit example.
Okay. Okay, let's just do it right here then. It's a second argument to the state machine.
Yeah.
So here's where we define our global actions and what's going on here. Okay, let's get it. Here we go. I can do this, everybody. I can do it. Like that. Okay, and then we're just going to be naive again and call this
clear error.
Exit parse error for now. I just want to I think there's going to be an obvious way to
why don't you get this wired up, but I want to come back here because I want to make a comment, but
okay.
I don't want to stop you from moving forward.
Yeah, thanks. And we're just going to go ahead and make this. Oh, if it's a static value, you can just do that. Boom. I hate you. Vim extension for VS Code. I truly hate you. Okay, so now we can say on config change, no, parse error, we want to say exit. Cool, man. Exit parse error. Yeah, and I think, this is exactly like clear parse error, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
You can imagine other states doing this.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Also, on line 41, since parse error doesn't start off as an empty string, should we null undefined?
Yep.
Oh, no. Okay, cool.
Sweet. Ooh, this is kind of cool. I feel like I'm tinkering. It is cool that this is all like pure logic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no HTML in here. Okay, so set parse error. So we don't need this anymore, right? I know when you're looking at your phone, dude. I've worked with you long enough to know when you're looking at your phone.
Wow, nice. Because
I
that was just a quick glance.
I
By the
know.
way,
I need you though, man.
your
You can't leave me alone here.
your thing has been frozen for me for like good 45 minutes.
Wait, my screen?
Not your screen, your video.
Oh,
But it's
really?
fine.
I guess we don't know how it's going on the stream, but I still see you, man. I see you like you're in 3 different boxes on my laptop. It's just like it's like an army of Ryans taking over my laptop.
Not weird. Not weird at all.
Not what you want to see, at the end of the workday. A little too much, really. I can handle a little bit of it, but it's a little bit too much. All right, so we don't need this one anymore, and then we don't need this. Oh, another state boolean has been eliminated. We should just like write a check to ourselves from our bank account every time that happens. Let's just push a button. It's like you have 100
coins, man.
Yeah, coins. You have $100 coming to you. Congratulations, you have eliminated one more state. Robin said the videos are fine, so guess what, buddy? It's your problem, not mine.
Yeah, it makes my life easier.
Hey. Keep it above the table, dude. Above the belt. All right. Where are we next? So, all right, let's just go to the next bug because we had a parse error like this right here. And if I fix this, we don't recover. So we need to fix this. Handle config input change. Guess what? We don't have a config change event defined on our parse error state.
So this
is pretty
might
cool
be
because we can have a config change event when we're in any of these states.
Yeah. Yep. Right. You're not.
Actually, we didn't define config change for the loading state. But anyways, our code just gets to call send config change, and our machine handles the transition. That's the beauty of it.
Exactly. You send events, and then the machine figures out what to do.
That is truly beautiful. And that way, like right here, we don't have to do all this branching based on what state we're in.
Yep.
I mean, that's basically what's wrapped up in the machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pretty cool. I'm feeling good about this, man. I'm feeling better every minute. Let's say that when we go from parse error and a config change happens, and yeah, we go to loading, right? That is correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we should be able to save this, and we should fix our UI. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. That's awesome.
Nice. And we go to loading, and then
so
back
cool.
to normal. Isn't it funny how much this unlocks? Like,
this is
like
crazy
imagine
awesome.
if you were in a parse error and you wanted to, like, I don't know, like make the UI theme different. It just that all this stuff seems so much easier now.
It's way easier because you're really only thinking about 2 states at a time. You're thinking about where you're at and where you need to go, and that's it. You're not really worried about everything else. And it feels like before, the reason we decided to bring this in was because so fast we got to a point where I had to hold all of the states in my head. We were in an error state, but we had to remember when we go back to loading, we have to clear out the error, and then if it gets ready, then we have to go. So you start keeping in your mind, holding the whole program in your head. But this feels like it was really nice right there. What we just did, we were like, oh wait, when I'm in the parse error, what happens when we get this guy? And I don't care about any of this other logic. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like this is a really good idea, and we should have been using it a long time ago. I don't know, just me. Who would have thought? Not me. All right, let's keep going here. Enough fooling around.
Should we so part of this was should we like whip up a quick test for this? Because part of this was
oh yeah.
This stuff's really hard to remember and juggle. It's basically the test you just did.
Yeah. Yep.
Loading.
And we have those actually from last time. We have this ready to go. So it works. Yeah, like it recovers basically. It shows a parsing error. Okay, so yeah, this should be easy to write. So let's do this. it dot only. First of all, let's do the responsible thing and see if our existing tests pass with our refactoring. So package.json scripts. Wow, look at this. I mean, really, is this honestly? We have a documentation site here, man. Is this completely necessary? This is ridiculous. I have a question. Does anyone know about an npm package that helps you manage your npm scripts?
Yeah, React scripts.
Yarn, good one. Yarn cy dot open, right?
Yeah, I always have to. Yes, because we have the dev server running. Yep.
I literally use
That's why I split
all these 15 out. Commands.
Like we have 6 different Cypress commands.
You're embarrassing me in front of my friends, dude. You are embarrassing me. Okay. Let's see if this is the straw that breaks my CPU's back. Inspector spec. Chrome is being controlled by automated test software. Oh, that's right. They're coming to take our jobs. Here's the first test. Yep, looks right. Oh, dude, by the way, I forgot to tell you, man. After our stream last week. Okay, the first one worked. Man, that is so bad. Got an error. Cool. Awesome. I used last week after we streamed, remember how the delay wasn't working on our Cypress dot whatever command? And it
was slow typing.
Yeah, the slow typing, it wasn't going fast enough. So we just made a thing where it replaces it. It turns out I think our code was so inefficient because of the way we were doing an effect or something in the rendering, like reinstantiating code mirror. So there was something that we were doing. And when I did a little bit of memoization afterwards, it started working again. So we were like, why isn't delay working with fill in or whatever? And it was just our app was just so slow. It was a pretty proud moment, I gotta say.
Your app is so slow. Your automated test software literally feels like your mom using the computer.
Yeah. Dude, I almost opened an issue on Cypress bug, delay doesn't work with fill in. Okay, so it shows, what do we want to say? It can recover. It recovers from a parsing error. Should we just add it to this test? It shows a parsing error.
I like making new tests because that test is meaningful.
Recover from a parsing error. Am I the only one who hates arrow functions when they're used like this? I just expect to see a function keyword here. Probably the only one. Okay, ASDF should not exist.
No, I'm with you, but I guess that doesn't really count.
Yeah. Okay, so the error should exist here, and then we're going to go ahead and type in code mirror, a valid thing, which is going to be a super simple version of this.
Mm-hmm.
Import server, export new server. Export new server. I have a question. What happens in JavaScript when you do export? Why isn't that the default export? What does that do? Is that valid? That's not valid.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Declaration or statement expected. It's literally not even it's not even valid JavaScript. Why wouldn't this be the default export? I mean, how much cooler does that look? I'd be the most popular guy in school if I could write that. You know what I mean? Isn't that weird? Why is the default word even needed?
Well,
Dude, Robin, I'm with you, by the way, man. I do not use arrow functions for function components at all. at all. Check out our little UI components here. Actually, this one might be when I was first learning. See, I hate this now. Isn't that funny? I do this now. H1 like this. This is all me all day long. All day, all along, just like this, and then return. Because, like, then you need to add. These are so stupid. These things that I wrote, by the way, just to clarify, they're so stupid because, like, you need to make the smallest tweak here, and you're like, oh, how do I console log this? I can't. I have to sit here and rewrite this thing. So this is how I do everything now. So
this is when you import your console log JSX component.
Yeah. Just to help you avoid it. Okay, cool. So this, after we do this thing, we should wait until loading goes away. We're definitely gonna need a helper for that, and then we're gonna assert that the response body. Should we send a request or just assert that loading goes away? And there's no error. And there's no error.
Yeah, exactly.
So bizarre, this stuff. Yeah, I'm starting to get around to named exports all day as well. There's a lot of benefits to them, but that one's harder for me. It's hard. That's a hard one for me to swallow. It's hard. Okay, I think it worked because Cypress does this thing where if it works, it's very hard to know. But if it fails, then you know. Dude, this Discord logo blowing up in my face is about to make me just go punch someone. I hate it so much. Okay, yeah, this worked. It's nice that it leaves it in a state. I mean, this is so cool that you can actually do this. Okay, cool. All right. We got a test. You happy, Mr. Test-A-Lot?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I was going to make a comment. I don't think this matters. I think this test is good. I was going to make a comment like, should we actually try to send it a GET request? Because that's ultimately what we want to know. It's like the inspector is usable again, but I think that
we'll do a couple higher level happy path ones there, I guess. But
yeah.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Or like you click on the database tab and it has like two tables in it or whatever. This thing's gonna be sick, dude. It's already coming along. I'm super excited about this thing though. It's gonna be so cool. Okay, let's keep going. Let's look at at what we have here. How long have we been going? We're going for an hour and a half. My God, we are so slow, man. What is wrong with us? It's like incredible anyone even pays us to write software, truly. Okay, let's not be so quite so vulnerable on the podcast here or the stream here, because we'll need work at some point in our lives. Okay, here we go. Handle config change. So this was going to be my next question. Set config input right now is setting the config input as React state. So like, are we going whole hog on this context thing? Like, are we supposed to just put this, the new config input, send it along with our event, throw it on our context, and then read from that in basically in like right here? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you draw the lines? Like, are you just going to put your entire app in a machine context? Like, are you just going to add an ESLint rule that says you can't use state anymore? Like, how far are we going here, Ryan? Like, when does this all stop? It's just going to get mad.
That's a great question. I didn't need that ramble there.
Okay.
But that really.
I just want to make sure the gravity of the situation really sunk in.
Is yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, maybe we should throw it in there. Like, the fact that we get like that Redux style storage seems like a good thing. Like you could, doesn't this give us like a nice way to be able to like undo,
yes,
go back type thing? I don't know if we actually need that. I might just be like making up features here.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like the DB is in state. The response is in state. We could pass in this tutorial snippet into our use machine and set it as initial state.
Mm-hmm.
See, this feels like I'm getting scared. I don't want to leave React state. I feel like that's off the happy path in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so on one hand, like the parse error definitely feels like it should be in the machine.
Agreed. It's associated with the state, really. Let's leave it here for now and come back to it. I don't know.
I have a
You
feeling
feel
that
like we're gonna
I have a
end up
feeling
putting it there.
we're going to get there, but I would like us to get to a point where it's like, oh yeah, we should definitely move this in.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, cool. All right. We'll leave active server tab, config input, DB, response. We'll leave this stuff in here. Yeah, I could definitely see all this stuff living in context in the state machine for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely could. Okay, so
Runtime error?
yeah, yep, runtime error. Yep. So what happens if there is a runtime error? Cannot read property DB of undefined. So
It's like literally a parse error because he didn't.
no, it's not.
So
It's not a parse error. You're saying the UI is in the parse error state?
yeah, because it's trying to.
Well, let's see what our shell is doing.
I think it's trying to do thing that was exported .db. So we should do a check to. We should do some check.
In like the app.
I thought it was somewhere in here. I thought
Import
server. Yeah, server.db.dump right there, line 23. And there's no DB because we didn't export. So we should probably have some sort of export check, and maybe that's like a new state, like your config is invalid.
It's a runtime error. It's a class of runtime error. It's valid
Okay,
JavaScript, but you don't know it's invalid until you try to run it. So are we getting to this point right here? Send message. Where is send message?
Yeah, I think
Right
so.
here.
I think we're trying to execute this code. The code is failing, and so we enter the catch block, and that sends out a parse error.
So is there any way for us to distinguish here whether the error was like a runtime or I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, we can inside of that code. So inside of the
Let me get rid of this log for a second.
Yeah, inside the green code, I'm just gonna the index.js code. We could do some sort of check to make sure that import server from /app. So we can do a check here to make sure that server is a Mirage server. And if it's not, we can throw, and we can throw whatever we throw is going to be the first argument to catch. And then catch can decide what type of message to post back to the parent.
Can we do instance of?
Love it. Yeah, this is always there's always an MD on Google.
You got your pup? You want to show your pup to everybody?
Yeah, she's not gonna jump up. Come here. Come here. Come here. She wants to play.
How do you do this? Like not instance of.
This is gonna be sad, but what I always do here is I always do like the like duck type check.
But what would you use? I mean,
Something like
server.db.
yeah, exactly.
Let's just see if this actually works.
Yeah, I think this is better.
So this is an expression, and you can put something around this, but it's ugly to me. Because then you need another parentheses around that in the if. You didn't export a server. You didn't
Cool.
export a server.
I'll be right back.
Okay. And now if I import server from Mirage.js and actually import server, default new server, loading. Cool. Cool. It works. So we can throw a new error, and can we pass data into this thing?
Yeah, doesn't error have like a specific interface? This stuff always gets me.
MDN error.
Yeah.
Just want an example. New error message. Whereas the constructor creates error objects, message, file name, line number. Additional properties. Error.prototype.name. What's like the simplest way? Throw new object.assign, new error message, some properties, what I do. Oh, that's basically like, yeah, that's basically like adding a new property to the error instance.
Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna have to like subclass error if we
To
want.
really do it correctly. It's annoying.
Maybe just throw new error, and then the receiver can do like if error dot message is.
This is what Robin said. New object, data sign, new error with the message. And then we have more data here. So this is fine.
Gotcha. I love that JavaScript is so hard that we just see this and we're like, yep, okay, this looks good.
I know. Also, couldn't you do like type and then like ... error message? I think you could do that. I think you could do this. Maybe not. New object assign. All right, let's just say, so this is throw a new. Okay, so yeah, there is no new object. Yeah, I think you could just do this then.
Yep.
Type what do we call this? No server export. Who knows what this is going to end up doing, right? But let's log out the error here. The error is, this is pretty inefficient, pretty slow feedback.
Yeah.
The error is reference error. Message is not defined. Not what I was expecting.
Because I think our throw code probably has an error in it. So go look at where you wrote throw. Message. So what is message?
Oh.
This is one of those things where it's like we try to do the right thing by using errors and then we never end up.
Yeah. The error is error object. Ah, right, but this is going to be a message, so this is going to be... Okay, I think we're onto something here.
Cool.
I need to, like, JSON.stringify this thing, I guess. Because I just want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we should have, like, export default. No server export. Cool.
Cool.
He said the issue is that you create a plain object. I mutate the error object. I see. Let's just go with his thing because I think he's done this more than us.
Mm-hmm.
So throw object assign. No server export. Let's take a look. The export is original error type. No server. Okay. This is this coming from us? Original error? He said with the other code, it's not an instance of error anymore, but now it is. Okay. So
cool.
We do have this, but I don't think, why is the error have this original error property on it? That's not really what we want. You know what I'm saying? We want to be able to say like error dot type or something like that.
Yeah. Do
But
we
it has
do
an
we have
original
any?
error property on it. So maybe
Why
I'm
don't
not
we search
doing
our
this
code?
right. I searched.
Don't you need to throw a new? Didn't he want on line
He did
22?
have that, but then he took it away. He said substitute throw new with just throw.
Just throw. Okay.
Maybe original error is just part of it. Yeah, this is awful. This is awful. Let's just throw a new error with no server export for now. We can always fix this later. This is like an isolated thing.
They give you like different types of errors. Like there's like, we can say this is like a runtime error. I think that's like an actual class in JavaScript. But whatever, new error is fine.
Yeah. e.toString. Why am I getting this original error object thing?
Well, they're so remember we're passing this across a boundary, and there's like a data serialization deserialization thing, and
wait, we're not right now though. Right now, oh, you're saying, oh, okay, it's the console log that's the boundary, not the code to this part. I think.
Yeah, can we get well, no, it might be the code to this part because we're like running Plunker, right? But this should all be in the same iframe.
Let's do this. Let's go back to our thing because this would be nice if this worked.
You could also try like console logging new error. and seeing what that looks
Oh,
like.
good call. That's a better idea. Syntax error. Error type is. Yeah, so let's copy this code. That's a great idea. This is working.
I think this code is, remember, this is like we're like writing a string that Plunker is going to run, or Plunker, right?
But I stringified this thing, so we should be seeing the entire, like if I do JSON.stringify x null 2, this is what I was expecting to see.
What is X? Okay.
Maybe the error interface from Plunker is just putting it into original error thing. So that's probably what they're doing. That would make sense, actually, so that Plunker could give you different information about the kind of error that's happening along this chain. So this is fine, actually. This is fine.
Okay.
I'm assuming that that's what's happening, right? So because we didn't write original error anywhere, I'm sure that's coming from. So if the type is equal to no, what is it? Export? No server export. No server export. Then okay, cool. So this is going to be a runtime error, right? And the error is going to be you must export a Mirage server instance from your config. This guy really should be the one in control of the string. I think we have parse error, runtime error, parse error, runtime error. So we're going to send a runtime error with this message to string. That's fine. So we're going to define a new state.
I have a quick question. Why do we have parse error and runtime errors as two different concepts
instead of just an error state?
Yeah.
It was so that we could have more information, but I guess we can put that in the messaging.
I mean, I guess if the UIs were different.
That's what I was thinking.
Then it totally makes sense.
Because like in a normal development, like your runtime errors are going to be like in your console, but we could potentially want like this parse error is always going to be about the code you have right here. I mean, the runtime error is too, but like it might not happen until you click send, right? And a route handler runs, and it's a bad route handler. So then where do you want to show that?
Okay.
Let's just keep it separate for now, and then if we're doing the same thing everywhere, I guess, I don't know.
It's interesting. So runtime error really is a substate of running, because you can be running with a runtime error and still be receiving new
events
like route handlers.
Yeah, or requests. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, requests. Yeah. So that might be good for us to dive.
Yeah. So running might be kind of different from like idle, like running and it's not running. Like there's actually a not running state. Like, Yeah, interesting.
It's running and not that like the gears are turning, but it's like it's ready, it's receiving.
Idle.
Yeah.
Receiving events or receiving requests or idle. Let's keep going with flat states for now and just verbose a little bit here. Now we are only going to set one error at a time. Maybe we should start with one error at a time. It'll make the UI easier because we just see if we're in an error state.
Yeah,
this
I
does
actually
feel
like
like
this.
Yagni, right? Because it feels like too much.
Yep. And when we do cross this bridge, it's going to be a route handler. And so I don't think it's going to look like this.
Right. We can still keep these separate for now, which I like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is pretty cool. Okay. Okay. Parse error. Unhandled rejection.
Yeah.
We broke something.
What did we do to catch? Did we have in the iframe shell, we've got a catch.
Unhandled rejection. This was for other stuff that I had started doing, but it shouldn't be hitting right now.
Wait, maybe it should because we throw
right here.
Yeah. So that would just...
Let's comment this out and see really quick.
I wonder if Plunker has a like guide for
Unhandled rejection. Shoot, we started refactoring. I don't know if our code was actually working before.
Okay, let's start with that event listener that has unhandled rejection. Let's put a debugger in there and try to figure out where it's coming from.
Oh, maybe it's this.
Oh.
Trying to get original error of undefined or whatever. Dang it, man. What did we do?
Here, go search for unhandled rejection because you get an event to that, and that should tell you. I know,
but we shouldn't even be in this branch. Like, we shouldn't even be there.
I get that, but if you log the...
Maybe it's this instance of check.
Yeah, maybe it needs to be like server and instance of.
Okay, we'll do it your way. Log what? The E?
Yeah, or like put a debugger.
I don't know if we can debugger here.
Oh, because we're in like iframe
I
shell.
don't even know where we are at this point. But like, I really want to get this working.
I think we might see something here that's just like that iframe shell code. We have like no.
Yeah, we don't even have linting around it, let alone testing.
Yeah, exactly. So we might just be misspelling something, and this might tell us.
Promise rejection event. E is not defined. Yeah. E. Where are we accessing E in a?
In the in the unhandled rejection event handler.
Oh, this stupid thing. Dumb. Sorry.
Oh, and right there, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't need that anymore. We can put this back, this back, this back.
Really like the. Can you like to like dot catch again?
I know.
It's really
get
dot
things
catch
working again.
It's really dot catch, try, throw, and then dot catch, like basically like irrecoverable error.
Yeah. Let's see if our error thing is working again. All right, we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back. Oh, geez, I misspelled something. There we go. So I'm kind of confused why I don't have any linting right here. Oh, I guess there's an MD file because I do have formatting.
Well, also too, just not even. Oh, good call. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking of the index.js string.
Okay, let's see if this is working. Working, loading. Come on, baby. There we go. And now we can go back to our new functionality. Here. And that should be it, I think. So now if this is a parse error. Server's not defined. If I do valid JavaScript, server is not defined. No, that's going to be something else.
Yeah, it was also capital S.
I hadn't uncommented that. Ah, cool. You must export a server instance from your config.
Wow.
That's super cool. Very cool.
Try doing this. Try doing like.
This is awesome.
Try exporting default like class server.
Well, no, because it's going to do an instance of check on the Mirage server. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Sick.
Awesome.
Hey, I have a question, man. Should we be using like that Monaco thing or whatever? Since it would do like type, you would like hover this and it would show you like IntelliSense and all that stuff. Are we like trying to re-implement too much of that? I mean, Rich said he didn't like it, but maybe it's just because he wanted it to be a certain way on Svelte's website.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of the use case for this, it's most of the time going to be people saying like, how do I do like post 1/comments?
Yeah. We'll get some.
I'm not sure.
We'll get good error messages too. Like it'll tell us if like has many is not defined here because I built that in the original one, and so we can get that stuff too. So I think it'll be okay.
Cool.
He said to himself reassuringly. Okay. Where are we at? Should we save here? Oh, let's run the tests.
Yeah, let's run the test and add a test.
What would we add a test for? What did we just do? Oh yeah, that the message says you must export a server. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. So yeah, apparently Cypress isn't so hot in the React community, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess we don't know. But that's what someone told me.
I mean, I'm not shocked that people don't want to use it. But I think it's a really popular tool.
Shows a message if you failed. If you didn't.
If you failed.
If the config doesn't export a Mirage server instance. Oh, right here. I was sorry.
Yep.
I missed this. Do we ever assert on the contain? Oh, right here. Okay. All right. Export default. Foo.
I think you can run the test now at this point, and yeah, okay. Basically, do that.
Oh.
Because this is the thing I love about it. It like leaves you in that last step. You haven't actually like failed the test yet.
Right. It's a good idea. That's great.
So it's like you can kind of like use the UI as you test.
Yeah.
It's basically like a permanent pause test.
Yep. You must export a Mirage server instance from your config. It's a default. You must export const foo equals foo. What is that going to say? Yeah, so we can make this a little bit better. You must export. Also, we're not even using this. You must export a Mirage server instance. A Mirage server instance must be the default export from your config. Cool. I really wanted to get to like the exciting ones, which was like, well, the runtime stuff is cool. Okay, cool. That's working. Like, what if you do server and then you forget to do Mirage like has many, and you export default new server, and you do models, or you just forget to import models, right? So you do this, user as a model, and then you do that. What's going to happen? Oh, okay. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I don't.
It would be nice to have line numbers here, but we can get that later. Awesome. Snap. Okay, so is that a runtime error, or is how is this working right now? It's because of this thing? It thinks it's a parse error? It's got to be.
Yeah.
So this is like not really it's like kind of a misnomer, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same way that if you just put ASDF,
Mm-hmm.
right? Technically, that's valid JavaScript. It's just not valid, I guess, because it's undefined. What I'm saying is this is the same as if you were to just write ASDF.
Oh. Right.
But it's not a parse error in the sense because you could do something like it is a runtime error, right? Because you could like put this behind an if statement.
Well, this could be on like window.model, but I mean that's a good that's an interesting question. No, it's a build time error. It's a build time error. It's not a runtime error. It's a build time error. Parse is probably not the right word. Probably build time is better.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, what's next? I mean, we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon, but
yep. We have a test for this?
Yeah. I just wrote
Can I
it.
pass this?
Yeah. Yeah, it passes, dog.
Wow, nice. What's next? Post request.
There was something exciting that was on the horizon. Oh, what are all these ones? So these are what are some of the things that I had in my old demo that we haven't had yet? Do I have that hosted?
Yeah, it's I think this wow, I think it's like exciting type exciting.
Oh. That was the preview, like the
Yeah.
Netlify. Do I have anything sensitive I'm about to show? Guess we'll figure it out. Sites. Amazing. No,
That was close.
Different. No. This is
Oh, Romantic Kepler. That sounds
romantic.
Familiar. Go back. I think you had it. Romantic Kepler. I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, right. It was this stuff. Oh, that's pretty cool if that's true. Robin said your password will appear as *** in YouTube live streams. That's kind of amazing.
Wait,
I
what?
don't know how they would do that. Yeah, so this was part of the problem. Right. So it was this one. Your server has no handler for this. And then it was when you do a post request, the same kind of stuff right here where like this is like invalid or whatever. Know what I'm saying, dog? So I think this is what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Users. Send. Okay, maybe I didn't have any validation here. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think it was just like, it was like showing this little thing right here, which is kind of cool. Like, oh, you don't have a handler for that.
Oh, I see. Rather than
waiting and showing you yeah.
Yep.
Although maybe we will decide this is not a good idea, and we would just show you what you would get if you brought this Mirage server into your app.
I know. I was kind of thinking, like, where do you draw the line? Because at some point there's going to be.
You want them to see the same kind of errors they would get in their app, so that they get familiar with it, I think.
Okay, in that case, then I think you do want. Maybe you could do like a little helpful error up here, but you do want them to see that because that's what they will.
Right, and we should improve this. Well, really, Mirage right now doesn't do a console.error. It used to, but it doesn't for some reasons, but I want to bring it back. And one other thing I want to do in this inspector UI that we're building is add a console. So that would be the best way to do it, I think. Because in here, when you use their REPL, and you were to do throw error, you get it right here, like that.
Ah, cool.
So I think that's nice because that's pretty obvious, right? So if Mirage were to say, Mirage, you have no route defined to handle users, then
Okay,
we could show it in the console right here, kind of thing. So this is different than the error that we're doing right down here.
Right, and maybe runtime error and parse error, or we should split this out into like pre-config, like config error, which are both what we just wrote code for, and then there's another type of error which is like while server is running error. Because it's not the runtime error itself doesn't like you're displaying this runtime error over in the config. But like go back to
you are on the right hand side.
Yeah. So it's really
your program. It's like it's the runtime. Yeah, it's like build time and runtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. This is the like export default foo or whatever. This is a problem with the left hand side of the screen or whatever. It's like, and you want to know over here in config that you haven't exported a Mirage server.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't care what we call it.
Right.
The right hand can be called runtime.
Right.
Build time on the left.
Right.
That works.
Something like that.
Actually, that even might be better because then it's like it's in our language by the time inspector.js component gets notified.
Build time and runtime.
Yeah, it's like in our domain language, in our applications language.
Right.
And then the post message stuff can be doing whatever the hell it wants.
Right. Yep. Cool. All right, shall we wrap it?
I think so. I'm pretty happy with this.
I
think
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Wait. I love just as we say that. If they put a debugger in a route, will that work? I don't know. What happens if I'm guessing no.
Try throwing a debugger in that index.js string because I think that's going to be similar.
Well, I guess if I opened up, that might work if you had the inspector open, because that works in like Code Sandbox and stuff, and I think it even worked in our code. Boom, works right there. That's awesome. No, I think that actually would work. Well, we can actually test it right now.
Yeah.
We can restart this. Dude, my computer. And if
we gotta go through your eCam.
Yeah, I agree. I think this will work. Yeah.
Type server.
That's awesome. So I'm in iframe right now, I think.
Yeah. You can see the about SRC doc. Very, very cool.
Wait, where do you see the about SRC doc?
Right above the console log.
Jeez.
Yep. So you can change that.
That's awesome.
But that is very cool.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I'm excited. All right. Yeah, we can start writing tests for the database too. Make sure all this stuff updates. We haven't written any tests for this page.
Yeah.
The database has 2 tabs. We might move the database to be like down here because I think it'd be nice to have them both up sometimes. Oh man, I can tell I'm tired. We had a podcast yesterday. Did we do it yesterday or Monday? We did it yesterday.
I think yesterday was Monday.
Oh yeah, and then I did a video for Egghead, and then just got on the phone here and gabbed with you for 2.5 hours after a meeting.
Nice.
So I'm gonna eat some candy and watch a movie or something tonight.
There you go. What movie?
Good question. Oh, I just watched. I'm going through my movies list. I just have movies that I'm cruising through. I just finished The Score. Great movie. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was Robert De Niro and Ed Norton.
Wait, what? I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was pretty good. I mean, it's it wasn't like my favorite of that genre. Heist movie, it was a heist movie, um, but it was still fun. The score, Robert De Niro is great. So is Ed Norton. I miss Ed Norton.
This is when they were both. This is 2001. This is when they were both in
The prime.
their
Yeah.
primes. How have I not?
Oh,
This
and
must have been awful. If I've never.
Marlon
if I've
Brando
never
is there
heard of
too.
this.
Night Robin, thank you so much for your help, man. Really appreciate you, all your feedback. You have a lot of good input on this stuff. So thanks for joining again.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and Marlon Brando. Yeah, it wasn't that good. It was a little slow. That was the only thing. Like, it was a fine. It was okay. It was like I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like it was like 3 out of 5 stars, something like that. You know what I mean? The acting is fine. It's just the actual story is like it's pretty cool, but it's not that deep. Like, if I wanted to really watch a good movie like that, I would just throw in like Ocean's 11 or something.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Awesome. So yeah, next time let's try to think about while we're here, so that next time we can jog our memory.
I think the database tab or like getting post requests working.
Right, because we haven't even set that up yet, have we?
Yeah, we should have a goal with this, like to
ship it.
We should just have a goal, like we want to show someone how to do X. Like I have like 20 questions that people have asked.
I had 4.
So
I had 4. I'll just find the last 4 that I saw that I needed.
That you answered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
if like one of those questions doesn't involve the database tab, we should basically skip
get
it.
the console first or something if we need the console before
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So that, and the reason for this is not that like the database isn't important. The reason for this is it's like a true end-to-end.
100%. You're
feature.
100% right. I think the next thing we should do is have some feedback when I click this, because right now we don't have any feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we don't reset that state when we start changing things either. So, but yeah, I think when you hit send button, nothing happens basically. So that will be a good next one. But let's make sure. Oh, I didn't see all these tests passed, and now I shut it down. Let's just check it real quick. Man, brutal.
You can keep everything shut down, and there's a command that's like yarn sci run. And this is really cool. Open up package JSON because I never remember these. It might be like yarn test sci run. Yarn test sci run.
Not sci run?
Sci run is you already have your development server running and you're just going to run Cypress. This gets so confusing.
This
test
like
sci run. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Bye, Beth. See you next time.
See you, Beth.
The state stuff, the XState stuff is very cool.
I think we're gonna like it a lot.
Too.
I think the way we organize stuff.
Yep.
It's
exactly. But I'm interested about this, where to put the state thing. Transition events. Okay, so yeah, these are events. These are states. Transition describes how you move from one state to the next. The build time is pretty brutal, man. I don't like slow feedback cycles, you know?
Yeah, this is...
I mean, it's a trade-off because it feels good to have the coverage that we do. It's really Gatsby build. I feel like we should be able to... It's almost like you want to work on... You almost like you want to be able to work on the inspector as a separate app, honestly. I mean, it's a React component.
We're also doing like a production build here, so this is just not a fast thing. This is like not a fast thing. It doesn't have a cache.
We're running all Cypress tests too. But there might be, I mean, what would it look like? So if we did React testing library and just to render the inspector component and just go to town on that, but then we wouldn't have the browser? How is
Yeah.
that
No,
possible?
I
How
don't
is
want
that
to do that.
possible?
What do you mean?
How do people accept that?
JS DOM. I think if you think along the lines of like component integration tests, it's acceptable.
Yeah, I guess it would be super fast. But the Cypress
Yeah.
wasn't what was slowing us down at all. Really, it wasn't. Because our app was already running. It was just slow Gatsby build and my computer running out of resources.
Yeah, and right here we're doing a full production build.
Okay,
so
I'm
this
not going
means
to do
like,
this right now. This is just going to take forever. So
well, it's probably almost
it's
done.
at 2%. I lost it. It's done.
right.
I will run this.
Push the code and let the computers run the test.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
You can also do yarn start or whatever it is here.
Let's just do that. Yarn start.
And then you can run
Yarn side
run. Yep.
This should not take that long. My yarn start. It's using the cache.
When you did the production one, it wasn't.
Right. But this one shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know if the production one caused the cache to be invalidated. Who knows? This seems pretty fast.
Like, why does it generate the ES doc each time? I guess that was fast.
Because so it cannot, we would have to like
use a cache key.
Yeah, we would have to store somewhere. So we would have like a .es.doc cache, and we could store like the M time or the Mirage version that the thing was generated for.
Gotcha.
But the ES.doc stuff is really fast. So I don't want to introduce code that we're like maintaining our own cache.
Yeah.
The stuff in Gatsby that takes forever is like the big transforms, like image transforms and like a minification.
Mm-hmm. Like, I wonder what it's doing right now. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what is it doing?
Also, yeah, we should go through your settings, maybe like before next week.
I agree. We should remind ourselves because it's easy to forget. "30 seconds, bootstrap, finish." God.
Yeah.
Skype. Maybe this is the worst part of it. And eCam.
Yeah, I would love, we're only using, I mean, dude, Skype is pretty bad. I think that if we could find some other way to integrate the camera into eCam.
Maybe we could also like turn off the cameras and just have our voices while we stream for a little bit. You know, that would be fine, I think. If we were just like focused on something and then we want to talk, we could bring our cameras up, but maybe that would help.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe, yeah. Sure. I that feels like a leap.
There's a lot of streamers.
I wonder if we can cut out Skype.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Moment of truth. Yarn, sigh,
Yarn.
run.
Yeah.
I really just wanted
Did
to
you
run
change
the
it?
inspector tests.
Oh, because you're saying that this is, yeah, I think there's only like 3 other tests.
Man, this stuff really is slow. Like everything about this. It's not even just because we're on. I'm just saying, like,
This is ridiculous.
even like VS Code, man, like the way it resizes. It's like, can you imagine a world where like all your tools are just lightning fast?
Blazing fast.
Blazing. Oh, it's making a video for each one. Oh, jeez.
I know. I didn't think of that, and that's not going to be easy on the old computer.
Just want the satisfaction, you know?
Took 8 seconds to render the homepage. All right, here we go.
Yeah. The first test took 13 seconds. Dude, but it just feels so good to have these things in the repo. I mean, it's crazy. It's like I'm willing to put up with a lot to have these kinds of test coverage, you know, to just be able to hack and make it work. That's great. Awesome. It works.
Yeah, I think we can
We can.
somehow improve the live stream thing because I think that's what's
killing it. Yeah.
killing us. Yeah. Like when I run this, it's super fast.
Cool. Add XState runtime error messaging. Cool. Sweet, man.
Nice.
Pretty solid. Pretty solid work. These are always pretty productive streams here.
No. I know.
We usually get a lot done. It's good to focus on them, you know?
Yeah.
But that was fun. Solid 2.5 hours. 2 hours, 32 minutes. Very cool, man. So next time we will keep working with XState. I think it'd be fun to try to talk to some people in the meantime. Well, now that I have so much more context, I can go back to the Kyle Shevlin class too. I'll be interested to do that because I've just been watching it a little bit here and there while I've been eating lunch or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like I will understand a lot more having used it today. And maybe he'll get into some components that have like React state as well as context from a state machine, because that's like my big question coming away from this.
You know, one of the things I hear people say is like, when do I need to introduce use reducer? And the idea is like, if you're calling multiple set states, you should probably be sending an action and letting your reducer transform the state. And so there might be something where it's like we're sending a state transition and then we're also sending a bunch of state.
Or like even before when we were doing like, oh, set parser error null, set runtime error null, set status is ready. Now it's like you should be in reducer land. And then if you're using XState, it's basically, well, you should just be using context because you're just talking about the related state bag that all changes together and just put that on context.
Exactly. I think I have a feeling that we'll get there. I want us to hit something that's like
which would that rule would also make me think that like the active database tab would stay in the React UI state, which I like because you can imagine that being on like a panel component that's just doing the active panel. But if it was right now, it just happens to also be state in our inspector component. But if we were to move it into the state machine, it's like now it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, I guess there's like maybe there's like, so like state machines have like guards. So like I can't transition from loading to parse error, right? Like that's a bad example. I can't transition from loading to runtime error because I had to have at least been built first.
Right.
So maybe there's like a concept of like I can't show
the database tab.
Right. If I haven't loaded yet.
Because, if I have an error or something like that.
Yeah. So I don't know what.
So you're saying there it might actually be related more than we think it is.
Maybe. I mean, I'm just throwing this out, but
interesting. And then also my question is like, can actions in your state machine modify the React state from the component, or is that like a no? There's like it shouldn't have any knowledge of your component state. I guess you could pass it in.
Feels like a no.
Yeah. You could pass in a callback or something like that to send or something, but that feels weird, I guess. Anyways.
You know what I mean? That actually would make sense because how is that different than like ping Google Analytics?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you should watch a thing and then because Cool.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you on the Flippy.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Did you cancel? Am I
Yep.
still on?
I hit finish. Wait, state machine bug. Finish and broadcast.